Hey guys, welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm Robert Durden, and I'm going to do a quick episode keeping the fire going for Peru and Pedro Castillo, who just won the election there over his right-wing opponent, Keiko Fujimori. Now, I just learned about this, so I had to do a little bit of reading, and I've watched a couple of shows, and I've read numerous articles now, so I feel like I can give you an update on exactly what's going on down there and what we should be looking for when it comes to how Castillo governs, and in the immediate future how we're going to make sure that Fujimori doesn't somehow upset the results of the election. So I'm going to read to you here from Jacobin real quick. As the dust settles on an election cycle marked by anti-communist hysteria, questions are now turning to what future Castillo government might look like. Peru has never had a president that remotely resembled Castillo, an indigenous, left-wing trade unionist. The only immediate comparisons, the policy-driven progressive politician Veronica Mendoza or the nationalist former president Ollanta Humala, actually only underline just how shocking it will be to see someone of Castillo's social and political background in the governmental palace. So it's crazy. He is a little bit right culturally, but he's actually a socialist on economics. And I'm going to read to you a little bit further here, guys. Basically what happened that made him win was that he didn't talk about partisan politics as much as he talked about it's us versus them, the has versus the has-nots, have-nots, and that's how you can win elections. I think this is a good template that we can use in America here. Make sure you're running on economic populism, and make sure that everybody understands that you are for the people, and in particular the poor people. There's more of us than there are of them, the rich people. And if you run like that, you can have a successful campaign. So I think we can learn from him. On a purely symbolic level, it would be hard to overstate the impact of Castillo's win. On the other hand, it comes on the heels of a conservative restoration in Ecuador and a general sense of disorientation among large parts of the Latin American left. However, with neighboring Chile and Colombia already marking counter-tendency and the possibility of new cycle of radical left politics in the region, a Castillo government represents a major shot in the arm for left-wing resurgence. I happen to agree. While Castillo held high-profile talks with progressive former heads of state like Uruguay's José Pepe Mujica and Bolivia's Evo Morales, he was careful on the campaign trail to downplay the question of foreign policy and regional integration, unlike Humala, who in 2011 successfully ran on a pink tide ticket, partly a rearguard attempt to defuse right-wing attack campaigns. Quote-unquote, Venezuela is a favorite hobby horse of the Peruvian press. Castillo made the elections squarely about the invisible Peruvian majority neglected by the nation's political class. So, basically, he united a whole bunch of disenfranchised poor people that really had given up that they had any hope. They recently had a right-wing government, and I believe Fujimori's father, so Keiko Fujimori's, who just lost to Castillo, her father was the recent leader of, or a recent leader of Peru, and very, very right-wing, at least economically. So what can we learn from this? Last thing here. In this same sense, Castillo's candidacy amounted to a referendum on that class's complete disconnect from popular concerns as a whole. The phrase repeated ad nauseum that, quote, no one saw Castillo coming, actually became a self-indictment of the Peruvian right, whose erstwhile effective neoliberal populism, incarnated in the figure of former leader Alberto Fujimori, that's the father, has completely crumbled in the wake of the region's second neoliberal crisis. So neoliberalism got its ass kicked in Peru, and this is a great sign, because if it can happen there, I think we can make it happen here. We just have to see the writing on the wall the way that the Peruvians did. Neoliberalism, and really, neoliberalism is just, it's a very conservative, just not quite as psychotically conservative as American conservatism is. But it's really a right-wing ideology. People have to see that that doesn't work, and we're starting to see that here. Bernie Sanders is evidence that a lot of younger people especially see the writing on the wall, and it is, to me, encouraging that Castillo was able to win here. Now, the second thing I want to take from this, guys, is Fujimori is trying to take a bunch of votes out of the election, basically commit fraud, and she came out tongue-in-cheek on television, basically, more or less going, wink, wink, nod, nod, U.S., come on in and do a coup. I need your help. It was so close. I'm sure you guys could come in here with your CIA, and you guys can help us overturn the election and install me as a right-wing leader. And you know the United States would prefer Fujimori over Castillo, absolutely. So I worry that that might happen. There have been plenty of coups. I mean, even Morales in Bolivia, for a while there, there was an attempted coup, and it lasted for a while until Morales was eventually reinstalled. But the U.S. meddles and stuff like this all the time, so I want us to pay close attention to Pedro Castillo and this election, but also let's keep a close eye on what he does and see if he can make some things work down there. It's one of those things I didn't really even know about Pedro Castillo until I saw it on a couple of shows, and now I've educated myself as best I can, and I'm going to keep an eye on him. So congratulations, it is official. He will be the new leader of Peru, Pedro Castillo, unionist, and at least very much a socialist on economic issues. And he's got some downfalls as far as culture goes. I've heard that he's like anti-abortion and stuff like that, but people don't care about that culture stuff as much as long as you can tell them what you're going to do as far as helping them in their pocketbook and their standard of living. And that's what he ran on, and he won. So congratulations, Pedro Castillo. Good job.